Bold, daring, unpredictable. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Robert Vaughn and David McCallum. Friday at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time on NBC.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
His paintings redefined comic book heroes. His vision inspired a generation. The Legend of Kingdom Come is the definitive documentary on Alex Ross, known as the Norman Rockwell of comics.
It almost looked like Renaissance paintings, except for superheroes.
He makes them look like Olympian gods.
We go behind the scenes of his definitive graphic novel, Kingdom Come, now on Blu-ray, packed with exclusive interviews and unseen artwork. Order today at legendofkingdomcome.com.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. For just $3 a month or more, you'll get exclusive access to the Word Balloon e-magazine, featuring transcriptions of some of my best conversations. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress with you. Happy to welcome back Josh Trujillo to Word Balloon. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. And, we're already looking towards 2026 with a really cool book that you've got coming out, a new Marvel project, and a fantastic crossover. The comic we didn't know we wanted, but we certainly are glad it's going to be out there. Yes, it's the Fantastic Four and the Planet of the Apes. What's that title, actually?
What is it? It's Fantastic Four, Planet of the Apes versus Fantastic Four.
Versus Fantastic Four.
I wasn't sure. I was like, wait, does it meet the Fantastic Four? Do they fight? It's versus Fantastic Four.
Yes, and I am all for it. I'm a big fan of both properties, and especially we'll keep it spoiler free, everybody, because it's not coming out till February. But the kind folks at Marvel gave me a sneak peek. And it looks fantastic. Tell everybody who your artist is.
Oh, sure. We've got Andrea DeVito on as our main artist, and man, they really knocked the hell out of this one because as you know, these are based off the '70s apes, and so back then the makeup is kind of primitive, so to speak, and so you don't get a lot of emotion out of the facial expressions. And so some of the apes comics or any sort of drawing of the apes, if they exaggerate the motions too much, it looks off, right? It doesn't feel right, or it feels too stiff. But Andrea has really taken it over, like has really made it his own. And it's incredible to see how much emotion he's able to wring out of these characters and still make them feel on model. That's always the trick with these like licensed books.
That's interesting. Did you have a chance to go back to Marvel's 70s ape magazines and see what they were doing with the ape stories? Doug Munch, the fantastic writer of Shang-Chi, among other things, and Batman, even in the 80s, he was one of the main ape writers back then.
It's amazing how big with those comics, or even some of the stuff they have in like fan magazines in the 80s and 90s, like the way they expand out the world, because there's not a lot of world building there is in the first film, but it's a limited world. We don't know what the whole planet is like, and then these comics will take you there and explore it, and like you do in the 5 movies and the TV show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I mean, I remember one story. I don't remember specifics, but it was like literally like a riverboat, like a Mark Twain sort of riverboat and stuff. And there was like gamblers and things. And no, you're right. It was absolutely more world building. And also they would add extra scenes to some of the established movies. I remember they did Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and you saw the perspective from the spaceship as it was traveling back in time. And you saw Zero looking through the window and everything. That's not in the movie, but yeah. So no, I'm with you, man. And again, great idea to match these two up. I mean, I'm sure I understand now that Disney owns Fox properties and stuff. It's a great opportunity to do crossovers like this. And I love those 70s designs. I mean, I just think they're the best. That's why I don't know, man. I can't warm up to the Reeves movies. I love the first one.
Yeah.
Because it played like an Outer Limits to me, or the Twilight Zone. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't had that need to see the new Ape movies. How about you?
I like the new Ape movies. I will admit that my heart's kind of with the classic ones. The third one, Escape, is my favorite of the Apes movies. I think it's the best one. But beyond that, the new Reeves movies, I think they're trying to make everything Shakespeare, right? So it's very broad and operatic and powerful, and like that's great. And like Andy Serkis gives probably his best performance in it, in the second one in particular. But my heart's with the old ones. I think this crossover is for like the kids who grew up with the 70s and 80s material and like have been pushing the action figures together the whole life. Now you get to see it.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I mean, you need Cornelius and Zira, you need Dr. Zayas and some of the others. And again, we'll keep it general, but no, man. And I'm so with you on Escape being the best of the 5 movies, because it starts off weird, then it becomes a comedy, and then halfway through, hey, we're hunting the apes. And, and all of a sudden it becomes this very tense suspense movie with a very grisly ending. Jesus,
No, yeah, it's so grim. And I remember watching it like, oh gosh, probably on like AMC or Sci-Fi, like weekend afternoon rerun. They just run them every weekend. And like, this isn't like 1 p.m. on a Saturday morning. It's like, oh, okay, I guess they just shot, no spoiler alert for Escape from the Planet of the Apes, but they shoot the baby. Like they're not afraid to go there in these movies. They blow up the planet in the second one, they kill the baby in the third one. It's like these movies are so dark, but they're before PG-13, so they're all rated PG or G.
Josh, I've been talking about AI lately on the show, and there's another movie of that era called Colossus: The Forbidden Project. I don't know if you know that movie.
No, I don't know this one.
All right, it's actually mentioning both beneath, well, more so Escape. Eric Braeden, the guy who plays the scientist, with the German accent.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a painting of a painting. That guy, he's the scientist in Colossus, and he creates this supercomputer that is supposed to run the U.S. military, and especially like the nuclear missiles and everything. Well, it gets so smart. This is 1970. It gets so smart. It talks to the Soviet equivalent, and basically both decide, something, these humans can't be responsible for their own actions. Let's take over the world. And they do.
That's funny.
It's a fantastic dystopia. I mean, the only reason I'm spoiled, well, 2 reasons. One, it's a 55-year-old movie, and B, it's also I think it's amazing and incredibly prescient. And I've been talking to friends that are screenwriters and movie and TV people, and I'm like, somebody's got to remake this. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, by the time it takes 2 years to make a movie, I'm like, by the time they're done with it, AI is going to be different. It's going to be in a different place than it is right now. It may be bust by then, who knows? Or it may get smarter and appear in a very different way than the way it is now.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because in writing for sci-fi in general, you're always, these days it feels like you're trying to hit a moving target, or with the apes and these apes, because everything they do is about like the nature of society and mankind and all this stuff. And so like, it's interesting to try to stay ahead of the curve, because our life is moving, things are accelerating so fast.
Absolutely.
How do you keep up? Even in comics, it takes sometimes I say it's about 18 months from when someone has an idea to when it comes out. And so you can have a great idea for an AI storyline, but by the time it comes out, it's real life.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, man. Absolutely. So, but yeah, I bring it up because again, like you said, pretty much every ape movie does not end well. From the Statue of Liberty to even the fifth movie, where maybe there's hope, but probably not. I love that final.
Oh yeah, the lawgiver statues. I'm crying. Yeah,
crying. Caesar's sad, but I love all 5 of them. I really do, man. So no, I'm always happy to talk apes, and that's great, man, because we got a couple decades between us. But see, when I was growing up, not only they were on like the afternoon movie on like the local channels and stuff, and then also the drive-ins would have like ape weekends, and they would run all 5 like all night long. So you want to really get depressed? Strap in, man. Watch the Earth end in several different ways over 5 movies.
That's so funny. My marathons tend to run out after about the 4th one. No offense to was it Battle for the Planet of the Apes?
Battle, yeah.
Yeah.
it's an interest. I mean, it's so low budget, and also back then it was rated G, which is interesting. And but they really were strapped for effects. But oh god, now I'm forgetting his name. The British director that did 5. But he's a really good, like he was a good World War II director and actually a good action director. And he did a great job. Ange, I don't know if you're watching. He says he's a Conquest fan, which
Conquest is great. Conquest is like it takes all the social commentary, just makes a comment, or it just puts it front and center. They do such a good job with it. Roddy McDowall, he's so great in all these movies, but I think he's actually the best in Conquest.
Absolutely. You know, it's crazy. You know, he's not in Beneath, the second one.
Oh, that's right, because some other guy is Cornelius.
He was doing another movie because really he loved the producer Arthur Jacobs, and Jacobs loved him too. But unfortunately they had a conflict in schedule. So yeah, they got this British guy to play Cornelius for that. And again, with the makeup, you can't tell. But
I don't know if it's true, but I heard that Roddy McDowall had the Lawgiver statue in his yard for years and years and years after the movie's wrapped.
Yeah, and also Dana Gould bought Roddy McDowall's house, the comedian. And yeah, you're right. No, they had the Lawgiver, which is, I mean, can you imagine? And I guess Sammy Davis also had a Lawgiver statue.
What? So Sammy Davis Jr. is like a fan of Planet of the Apes. That's so funny.
Hey, man.
You don't think about these things coexisting at the same time.
But they did, absolutely, man. No, and he was good friends with Arthur Jacobs, the producer of the movies. Not, honestly, man, also, people don't realize that before Star Wars, the big merchandising success, and especially for Fox, was Planet of the Apes, and that they were so dumb when it came to Star Wars. And Lucas is like, hey, I want the merchandise. They're like, yeah, good luck. And it's like, you just had a huge, success with all the ape licensing, dummies.
Yeah, they had no idea what was coming, which is crazy because we wouldn't have Star Wars without Planet of the Apes. There's no way they would have taken a risk on that movie.
That's a very interesting point of view on that. No, I hear what you're saying, man. And that's cool. Do you mention the TV show? Have you watched the TV show?
I used to watch it in obviously in reruns, I guess.
Sure.
I used to watch a little bit of it. I have no real strong memories. It's just them running around with rifles sometimes and shooting. You know what I mean? It's just like a classic like A-Team kind of action show.
Yeah, they you'll forgive me. I'm a big, especially classic Star Trek fan. The guy who played Sarek, Spock's father, Mark Leonard, is General Ursus in the TV show. And there was a different Zaius. It wasn't Maurice Evans. But, for what it was. And also, Roddy McDowall played Galen instead of Cornelius or Caesar.
Oh, right.
But, no, I mean, it's a shame that it didn't get a chance to live. But, that was the case with a lot of genre shows. We were the $6 Million Man and Wonder Woman were like rare exceptions to the usual like shows that were out in one season and stuff.
Yeah, but you don't think about how some of these shows were only running for like 13 episodes, but they've been in reruns forever and ever and ever. Like Greatest American Hero, I think it's like 2 seasons, but it's been on forever.
Again, old enough to remember when it was on live, but so I know what you mean, man. No, that's true. But yeah, crazy. All right, FF though. I mean, always the cosmic travelers. So it isn't surprising that one of their misadventures might find themselves in this ape world.
Yeah, this is one of the funny ones because normally when they do these crossovers, like it's Godzilla, or even though Godzilla has a history in the Marvel comics, obviously, but they do Godzilla or they do Sonic the Hedgehog over at DC or whatever it is, and people are always like, "What? How'd they think of that?" And then this one, they announce it, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Everyone's like, "Yeah, that's like." Of course they do that. Like, of course the Fantastic Four would end up on the Planet of the Apes.
Did you read, again, these are old comics, but the 2099 books, they had a Fantastic Four book, and it was cool because it had the team like in a year one situation finding themselves in the future. And it was really interesting because it was like this Lee Kirby Fantastic Four suddenly being in 2099 and stuff. And it was a really interesting idea.
That's a really smart way to do it.
I mean, would you say that your team is of the moment? I mean, certainly you can say, well, they're timeless. But yeah, how would you characterize where the four are?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think my take on them is it's not quite Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, but they've been through this before. They've been through this sort of thing before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they aren't necessarily the Lee Kirby like Invisible Girl Great Gang, but they have they have the experience. They're the characters for the most part. I say hopefully for the complete part.
I would say so. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No,
they're interesting.
You nailed it.
They're interesting to write against the apes, I'll say, because the apes are allowed to be bastards and jerks and say terrible things to you and make big mistakes. And the Fantastic Four just don't do that. You know what I mean? So that's the bouncing off of it, right? It's not like the Jetsons or the Flintstones crossing over where their worlds kind of blend pretty seamlessly in terms of tone. The apes are so serious and so dark and so socially conscious. And then the Fantastic Four are like the epitome of like clean, slick, futuristic heroes.
And also, again, we can keep it spoiler free, but it is obvious that the four are going to show up. They can speak, and certainly that's the last thing they're expecting from humans on the Planet of the Apes. Do we know? And again, if you can't answer, is this before the events of Taylor, Charlton Heston's character, and those three?
There were a couple ways to go about this in terms of the timeline, right? Because the end of the second movie really complicates telling stories going forward.
Well, certainly.
There's no planet after the second movie. So I wanted to incorporate all the classic characters because Zira and Dr. Zaius has actually been the most fun character I think I've written in like years. But it takes place between the end of the first movie and the beginning of the second movie. There's a vague period that isn't really established how long it's been after Taylor goes into the Forbidden Zone and when the guy who isn't Charlton Heston comes to Earth, comes to the planet.
Brent, James Franciscus, absolutely, man.
Yeah, James Franciscus. So it takes place between those moments.
Judge, it's in another room, or I'd pull out my Mego of Brent that I bought like a couple of years ago. That's how much of a Planet of the Apes fan I am. I'm like, oh, they finally made a Brent? I'm like, I am all in for that. Continue, excuse me.
No, it's fine. So we won't see Charlton Heston and we won't see Nova, but we see all our apes friends, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of the aftermath of Taylor, and we're seeing I'm putting some threads out there. There's some questions in the later Apes movies of how did this happen, and so the Fantastic Four get to help explain away that. I'm that continuity guy for the most part.
That's great, man. Well, that's honestly, I think ape fans and others kind of look for that, and that's one of the reasons why too. I was wondering where the four were as far as the story. No, that's cool. And again, I can appreciate the potential story opportunities because there is this space between both movies that I think can be explored. Another guy that did great adaptations of the Ape story was this writer, Andrew Gaska. He did illustrated novels a couple of years ago. I had him on my show. And he even did he got these wonderful artists, or the publisher did, to do these paintings within this it was a full prose novel, but it had occasional spot illustrations. And one of them was the apes dredging up Taylor's capsule. And that's awesome. Dr. Milo. Yeah. And then basically told the story of how Dr. Milo was able to reverse engineer how to fly the ship, So
no, it's one of those questions. You watch the movies and you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, as you say, I think this is an opportunity for some world building. So beyond Ape City, might we see other ape locations?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see the outskirts of Ape City. There's what am I trying to say? There's a drought that is a big plot point in the second movie, Beneath, that kind of forces Ursus's excursion into the Forbidden Zone. And we're going to see the beginnings of that and how that affects the ape farmers, basically, who live on the outskirts. So it's a battle for ape civilization. They never get a break.
That's cool. That's fantastic. There's a fantastic twist, everybody, in the last moments of the first issue that I will just leave at that.
One of those classic, I can't believe they let me do that moments.
That's great, man. Who's editing you?
Right now, it's Martin Biro. So we worked together on my first Marvel work with him was a Hell Cow short, if you know Hell Cow, for the Blood Hunters crossover Blood Hunt. And then we did a Gambit one shot at the beginning of this year with a What If Gambit became a Herald of Galactus.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
That was cool because we had the costume was designed by Ron Lim. So it was like just bleeding 90s energy off of that.
Yeah, that's a good cosmic guy to tap to.
Oh yeah, and for Gambit, it's like the perfect artist, I think, naturally for that, for at least for the designs.
And who did this cover for the FF?
Oh gosh, that is Greg Land himself, the legend.
Oh, there you go. Absolutely.
And we have a great B cover, and we have there's some movie homage variant that haven't been shown out yet, but I'm excited for people to see those. So they're having a lot of fun with it. They're doing, it's like Marvel takes on Ape posters, Ape takes on classic Marvel moments, anything they can find in between.
I remember when IDW had the license and they did a original series Star Trek crossover with the Apes. And yeah, man, and J.K. Woodward was the artist, and it was great because it was a great opportunity to show like them being like, I think Spock and Nova were being carted away in one of those wagons like we see in the movies. Yeah, and the bamboo cage. One of them was in that.
Oh, I love those like jungle gym looking cages that the humans are in sometimes. There's so much great visual stuff, and I was watching some video about it a while ago. I think they were inspired by like architecture in Tanzania or something just completely insane. Like the production designer found this old like African architecture book and was like, "Oh, let's just do this. Like this looks like it's from another world."
I think Ape City was kind of decaying by the time of Beneath, but it kind of still worked because like whatever material they used to construct those kind of huts and everything that they lived in. And also it was interesting because the second director, this guy Ted Post, was really a TV director, really didn't do many movies. And I love Beneath. I think Beneath is a cool, like, again, it has that incredibly depressing ending. But
I think the last 20-30 minutes of Beneath are like some of the best of the Apes. It is dark and weird and suspenseful, and the mutants are great. Like the whole thing's a treat.
My friend Art Baltazar will chant the mutant "Unto My God," which is of course off key, and he does it off key. It's fantastic. But no, man, I know I love those all those people, including I believe Natalie Trundy was the female mutant, and also she's one of the good scientists.
Yes,
Escape.
I never made that connection, but now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, she was Arthur Jake's the producer's wife, and good. She was a good actress. But yeah, I love the mutants, and that's why I love the final movie because the mutants come out of the subterranean caves and they try to make an attack on Ape City, and it's great because it's so low budget, and they got like one school bus and maybe a dozen mutants and stuff. It's hilarious. So,
right, they're just getting kids from the neighborhood. They're getting anyone they can to show up on the back lot that day.
Here, Ange, again, good to see you, Ange. Ange says in Beneath, when the mutants peel off their faces, freak me out. Oh God, yeah, man, because they look all nice and clean with their cowls, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, guess who had radiation fallout? All of us. All right, great.
Oh, so great. They're worshiping the bomb. The whole thing's incredible.
Honestly, again, like these ideas, I don't remember who was it. Roald Dahl? I can't remember who wrote a lot of the movies, but that's great science fiction, man.
Oh yeah, even like Rod Serling did some drafts of the first one. I think
the first movie. Yeah,
and I think he wrote a couple of the episodes of the TV show, or did drafts for those.
Wow, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Someone have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did a couple of teleplays for them.
That's cool. Well, and of course, the novel by Pierre Boulet and Serling's original draft are very different from what we got in '68 in the first movie. But Dana Gould, the comedian, again, who I said had Roddy McDowall's house, he adapted Serling's original screenplay when Boom had the license, and it's interesting. It's really interesting to see. Did you watch the screen test with Edward G. Robinson when they were first testing the makeup?
I did actually, yeah.
That's on great. YouTube, everybody, if you haven't seen it.
Was it Boom that did Gabriel Hardman for some of the Apes? Those were beautiful. Those ones really caught my attention when they came out.
Yeah, Gabe's a good friend of mine. He he did some great Ape comics. And I was referred. It's so funny. I was telling a friend today that we were going to talk tonight, and I was talking about Gabe's run. And Gabe, like they're about 20 years before the first movie, and it's Zaius as a young man. And so I refer to the series as The Adventures of Young Dr. Zaius, because that's kind of what it was.
Oh,
And
that's so good.
yeah, they're cool. And again, it's those original designs. Again, the Tim Burton movie, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah,
He
no
really
offense
didn't.
to anyone who worked on that movie. We don't talk about it. It's about the first 5 for me for sure.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. Although my butt, like Tony Fleece, is like, you gotta watch other than just the Franco.
You got to watch 2 and 3.
episodes.
Those are really good. 3 is dark. 3 is as dark as any ape movie gets.
Yeah, I'll have to get to it. I hear you, man. So, what are some of your favorite FF runs?
Oh gosh, first one that comes to mind is the Mark Waid and Ringo run. That's a classic for me. That kind of was my entry point for the universe in that way.
Yeah.
And Mark Waid just makes everything so accessible for the most part. So you just start going from there. My favorite storyline is probably the Trial of Galactus. That one was like one of those mind-expanding ones. And then you go back and read like the classic Kirby stuff. But it's interesting because it's like all the Kirby stuff for the Fantastic Four is like the Book of Genesis, right? It's like held up there to such a pantheon, and then we're just kind of in the shadows of these amazing stories that happened back then.
Well,
but those are so great. Yeah, they really set an incredible foundation for the series. And who's on it? Oh my God, Ryan North is on it right now. And
yes. Oh my God, Ryan's killing it.
He's killing it. He's the smartest person in comics. Just like those are some. His Squirrel Girl was dense and intelligent, and this Fantastic Four is like that to the next power.
I'm with you.
I was a little intimidated writing those characters to begin with because Ryan North has his run, and I'm like, I don't know how robots work. I'm just, I don't know how quantum physics work.
So you didn't coordinate it all with him? I mean, again, this is kind of outside of continuity, so you don't have.
Yeah, we are beholden to continuity, but we're not in. You're
not interfering with it. Yeah,
we're not interfering with it.
No, I get it. No,
we had some fun with it.
Yeah, this could be a story in between mission, in between adventures that Ryan didn't get to.
And I mean, everyone says it, which you think it's kind of cliche, but the thing is the easiest character to write in comics.
That's great.
It really is. I was like, I just feel like it's going to sound a little cliche or whatever. And then you start writing him and you're like, oh, wait, no, as long as you get the humanity in him, you're set.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben has some challenges on the Planet of the Apes. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we get to do a lot of interesting Ben stuff in this one.
I bet. Also, I again, betraying my age. I mean, I remember when, Marvel 2-in-1 was essentially a thing book, and really kind of solo thing. I mean, even though we always had a partner or whatever, they felt like it was solo adventures. And I'm glad that I'm always surprised that people don't really use him more as a front and center character. Another one, and I'd be curious to hear what you think. The Invisible Woman.
Oh, I love Sue. It's great because I feel like she gets a moment to shine in the miniseries, I will say, and it was really fun to write her. I think that she's always been a popular character, there's no mistaking that. But something about the movie that came out last year or this year has really catapulted her because she was so prominent in that film, and I think they did such a good job with her. It's everyone's crazy about the Invisible Woman right now.
Well, and honestly, I'll even admit, just being an old-fashioned FF reader, when they're like, "Oh, Sue's going to be the leader," and it's like, really? And again, not that she's not capable, but I'm just used to Reed being, in charge. And no, Vanessa Kirby did a great job. It was really a great portrayal, and I felt like the characters were very consistent with what we get in the comics. And also, mentioning our friend Mark Waid again, when Mark was at Marvel still. And there was finally an Invisible Woman solo book. And it's like, it's about fucking time.
Oh, it's crazy how some of these characters will go 50 years without anyone thinking of giving them a solo title.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I was surprised A-Force didn't continue as well, the all-women hero team. And I'm like, no, that's a good idea. Do that. And I'm surprised they haven't maintained it.
I would be surprised to see it come back in some form or another.
Maybe.
These team books are interesting because some of them really hit, and then some others are, I don't know, sales-wise or whatever, they just kind of pass through. But I loved the A-Force lineup. That was great because it's like, where else are you going to see Dazzler team up with Tigress?
Absolutely, man. Now, how is
Tigress.
it?
Tigress
We're going
is
to talk
decent.
about your Aquaman book from earlier this year as well. And you've got multiple characters there. How is it manipulating when you've got so many? I mean, not only the FF, but obviously all the ape characters as well, and
Oh my
moving the chess
gosh.
pieces.
Well, you've read the issue, so we did not only have the Fantastic Four, we've got the four main apes: Ursus, Zaius, Cornelius, Zira. We've got some classic Fantastic Four villains, and some weird oddball ones, and then of course he's on the cover, so you've got Doom.
Yes.
So it's a big cast, and I'm excited to do that. I love stories with their big ensemble. I feel bad for the artist sometimes because he has to draw scenes where there are 8 characters having a conversation, but we figure it out. It's a really interesting batch of characters to throw against each other, and trying to just thinking about what would Doom think about the Planet of the Apes? You know what I mean? What does Reed think, but what does Doom think? Is he cool with this? He's got he's so multifaceted, and he got the sense of honor and kind of justice in some level. It's really interesting to put him in these hard sci-fi conundrums.
And if it's a spoiler, don't say it.
Oh, sure.
But do they know they're on Earth, or do they think it's another planet?
I don't think it's a spoiler. It's something they're learning. It's something they're figuring out.
I mean, obviously, the apes are speaking English, so they must assume.
Right. They know something weird's going on.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, clearly.
Obviously, they know something weird's going on, but they it's something they slowly piece together, I would say.
Okay.
But there's not a moment. There's not really such a big moment where they're going to stand in front of the Statue of Liberty and start screaming.
Right. It should be the ruins of the Baxter Building. That's the other exciting potential without knowing what happens moving forward. But it certainly would be interesting if they were to see a decimated New York, like we saw in Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah, some of those shots of the decimated New York, and I know it's just a matte painting or whatever, but it's very effective.
No, that's what I'm saying, man. They really cut corners on the second movie, but they work because you're right. It is a weird little matte painting or whatever. And like I said, the same thing with Ape City. It's no, actually, all this stuff still works. So
yeah, it's interesting. Some of the notes we get from the studio, who have I would hope that they never slack, and they don't here at all. They give very thoughtful notes. They're this is the kind of rifle the apes use. This is the exact shape the windows in Ape City have to be. It's stuff like that you would take for granted as it's just any rifle. It's just whatever. And it's no, they're so smart. They have so much reference material for the artists, and they're immediately they'll pull out the wrong. They're this is the wrong shade of reddish brown. Stuff like that.
Josh, that's reassuring because Gabe Hardman's a good friend of mine, and he was telling me that he was really concerned that the Fox art department, when the sale to Disney happened, was going to go away because he's they had photos of every movie they shot, literally going from the beginning of the sound era. So literally you could look up a 1935 Fox movie and go, oh no, they did X, Y, and Z on that, and had those kind of records. And it is really reassuring to hear that that movie franchise is literally 50 plus years old, and that the current people that are vetting your story are that detail oriented. That's wonderful.
No, they're just as specific about it as they would be probably with a Star Wars or a Star Trek license or whatever it is. And that's really exciting for me because they're the real, they're the real fans.
Did they offer any sort of Bible of the ape characters?
Not for me. I think visually they provided a lot of reference, or they have access to that sort of thing.
Sure.
For me, it was less watch the movies 100 times, download that information into your brain, and try to get the character voices right. And it's so the ape story is it's just so epic and sprawling and big, and it really does match up well with the kind of stuff the Fantastic Four I think are known for. Is these big ideas, these wacky situations. We get to have a lot of fun with it, but also there's a lot of drama, obviously, and we get to see apes breaking a lot of laws left and right.
Ape has killed ape. The culture clash, and also to have it represented by the four versus, you know, Charlton Heston's one-man show of Taylor and everything. No, I think, again, it presents some interesting opportunities. And I'm looking forward to the conversations between Zira and Sue. And
sure.
Hey, is Lucius going to show up, the teenage ape? And are he and Johnny going to bond at all?
Oh, I don't want to spoil. I will say Julius,
That's who I meant, maybe Julius. Yes, that's
Julius
who it was.
Is it Julius? So Julius
It's either
is
Julius or Lucius. I couldn't remember.
Maybe it's okay. Now I'm like, one of them is the prison guard. One of them is the teenager. Whatever, we see the prison guard, and I don't want to spoil anything for the teenager yet.
Cool. No, that's great, man. Again, I think you're off to a great start. When is final cutoff to order the book?
I think it's January 5th, I want to say. So
okay,
you have some
good. We have time. Okay,
yeah,
excellent.
to go to your local shop and beg them for some Planet of the Apes comics and some variants and the whole thing.
How many issues for the series?
We're 4, which is always an interesting act structure to follow. But with this cast, it actually works out pretty well, I will say. We're landing the ship. I'm writing the 4th issue, actually, probably just this week.
And communicating with Andrea? How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. He is so friendly. I think he's based in Italy. But one of the most supportive artists I've ever worked with. And every script, I know he pours through and he pulls out these moments and he references them in the emails. And he's just like, this was really powerful. I feel like you're doing a great job here and here and here. Because sometimes, they take the script and they're like, okay, thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah. No, I feel both sides.
And so there's like a lot of passion coming from here. And I don't know if he was an Apes fan already, but it definitely shows in his artwork. There's a double page spread. I think that might have already been revealed where the Fantastic Four are under trial in Ape City. And it's like, oh, you didn't slack on this.
No, it looks great, everybody. And again, you got these Greg Land covers. I haven't seen any of the variants yet, but no, it's a wonderful production, and I will certainly be paying attention as it comes out. I appreciate you guys all sending me that first issue. I mean, again, as you can tell, I can talk about this stuff without reading it, and know, I have plenty to say about the potential of an Apes FF crossover and everything. But no, it's really good, and I think both FF fans and Ape fans will not be disappointed. So well done. Now I want to ask about Aquaman, and now was this published, or is this a digital book? What's the deal?
It's a digital book, so you can read it on DC Universe Infinite, which is their comic app.
Yeah, their digital app.
Yeah, so if you get a subscription. If you get just the free account, I think you can read the first 7 or 8 for free, and then if you get the paid account, you can read. But it's going to be 26 issues for this season because they go in seasons. So it's a lot. It's a lot of comic. These things are roughly about 8 to 10 pages, I'd say, maybe a little bit more comparatively to a print comic. But if you add up all those pages, it's the longest continuous story I've ever told in comics. Even longer. We did 17 issues of Blue Beetle. This is longer than that.
That's great. And give people the plot of, and it's
sure.
First of all, it's give the title first of all. Here
so it's Aquaman, yo ho, hold on to your hook, and that's not a typo. It's because they're pirates. It's a world where the DC universe is known as the DC DEE space SEA. It's the big ocean that covers the entire planet. So every major location in the DC universe, Gotham, Tamaran, Krypton, whatever you got, is an island or a continent on this enormous stretch of ocean. And so navigating it is our Aquaman, Jackson Hyde, who's the second, or I guess the third Aquaman after Tempest. But anyway, Jackson Hyde is our Aquaman, and he's on this pirate ship with Hawaii, who's a recent character that's been introduced to the Aquaman lore. And then Dolphin is there as well. Love Dolphin. I was very excited to get to write for Dolphin. And so the three of them, they're going on this epic quest to recover King Arthur's hook. And so that's the big plot device they're trying to get is King Arthur's hook. Because we're all in this, like, just like the Lee Kirby stuff. The Peter David has just completely transformed Aquaman and our perception of Aquaman for the modern readers. And so we wanted to have that like little nod, right?
That's cool. And also, it's kind of a YA book, would you say, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's younger skewing. It's a little more for teens or thereabouts. If you if you like kind of like shonen manga, if you like One Piece is obviously a big inspiration for the book, but if you like other stuff like Dragon Ball Z or Outlaw Star or any Tenchi Muyo, there's a lot of fun. We kind of we try to make a fun book. The idea for these Go comics, because there's a whole line of them. There's a Wonder Woman one. There's a Nightwing one that's very popular. Nothing but Nightwing, Harley Quinn, whatever. Any character you like probably has a DC Go book. But these are weekly installments. You get them on the app, and they're not left to right page turn books. They're designed to be scrolled.
Oh, you're scrolling.
You're scrolling it like you would a webtoon or even like you would an article on your phone.
Sure.
And so the panels, they don't go left to right. They just go down. And so we have an advantage because Aquaman. The goal visually for these comics should be you're always pulling the reader's eye down because you want them to keep scrolling. Well, in Aquaman, they can jump off the ship and go in the water. And so it's a trick it's our secret weapon. It's like, how do we make this visually interesting? They jump in the water. And it's like, you know what I mean? They do some backflips, or they break through the floor of the room. And like, it's so fun to play up to those moments because they're very unique to the format in a way that you couldn't do in print.
No, and I appreciate that. And, so once you figured that out, it must have been fun to write to that kind of format versus like the 9-panel grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought when I first realized we were doing a scroll comic, because I did a couple of them for Marvel already.
Yes.
I was a little like disheartened because I was like, we lose the page turn reveals. We lose the double page spreads. We lose some of the language of comics that are so special to me. And in this one, there are other opportunities. And I think the biggest opportunity of all is that you can just read it on your phone. You know what I mean? You don't have to zoom in and pinch or whatever. It's formatted perfectly for your device. I read them on my iPad, but whatever you want to.
That's how I read it. Yeah.
So they're great. We've got a murderer's row of artists. We have Niccolo Alapi, who's another Italian artist, actually. He has a webcomics background. We have Andrew Drillin, who I've worked with on. We did a Bunker short, and we've done some other various projects here and there in the DC universe. He has a fine arts background. It really shows in his work. And then we've got Bradley Clayton, who is a superstar comic artist, kind of coming up. He did some Stranger Things comics this year, and also did a book with Cena Grace last year, West Hollywood Monster Squad. That's kind of what it got them on DC's radar. So it's interesting because we have like the webcomics artist, we've got like the fine artist, and then we've got like the classic comic book artist in the Kuber style. And so it's like trying to write for those three strengths, depending on what storyline I'm doing, is a lot of fun as well. It's like my favorite comic series of all time is probably 52. Just the excitement of coming back every week and waiting to see what's next.
Yes.
And so I always dreamed of working on a weekly book. But be careful what you wish for. It is not easy. It is not easy to write a weekly comic.
So is this an ongoing, Josh, or
it's for 26 episodes. So the first 20, I think, have already come out, and we're on a winter break until the beginning of January.
Okay.
I think so. On Planet of the Apes FOC Day, go to your local comic shop, order some apes, and then on the walk back, you can read the latest Aquaman on your phone. Because we come back, I think, around that time. But so 20 have already come out. We're gonna land the ship in January, and then we'll see what the future holds from there. But like I said, no one gets to do 26 issues of anything anymore. So
absolutely. How many will it eventually be adapted in a hard version?
That's my hope. They haven't made any promises here or there. That's really my hope. But I will say that maybe more than some of the other DC Go books, because some of them read just like panels stacked on each other, which I think is a totally valid way to read it.
Sure.
But we do the flow. You know what I mean? We make it feel like one continuous read as much as we can, and that's going to be harder to translate into print. So I think our strength really is we're leaning into the format of the digital comic. That's not to say that it can't be adapted. I'm just saying I'm not smart enough to know how to do that.
Honestly, it's been really interesting watching the evolution of the digital comic because, again, I was, Word Balloon was there when those first comics were coming, and especially pre-iPad when your reading surface was your iPhone. And I would equate the screen to the size of a baseball card. And just like you said, not only double page spreads and that impact moment that a traditional comic will have. No, it doesn't have that. But it is interesting because I remember Scott McCloud's whole understanding comics and talking about scrolling in that. Then it seemed like for a while the digital comics got away from it and they were swiping. And, they would have the layered images and stuff, like you'd see a gun and then you'd swipe and then all of a sudden you'd see the gun fire, things like that. Mark Waid was doing it with Thrillbet, my buddies Allison Baker and Chris Robertson with Monkey Brain. So yeah, it's kind of cool that web comics and digital comics are like, no, something. I think the scroll is probably the best way.
Yeah, it's an interesting format, and honestly, I've had a lot of fun writing for it. And Aquaman, of course, naturally lends itself again to diving into the water, jumping off a building, whatever you have. But it's a cool book. We've got our main cast, and then everything in the DC universe has been reimagined as pirates. So you've got Cap and Harley Quinn and Lady Ivy, or you've got Superman on Metropolis Island, or we've got Psycho Pirate who pops up, of course. Once I found out we were doing a pirate book, I was like, we got to do Psycho Pirate. Like,
oh, that's great. Of course you do. Jeez.
It'd be dereliction of duty not to include him. But we get weird and specific with it. We just did. I don't know how deep your Aquaman lore goes.
Talk to them.
Yeah, we got Quisp here, who's from Aquaman 1. It's kind of this impy water sprite, very much like Aquaman's Mxyzptlk.
Yes.
So he plays a big role in one of the episodes. But we're trying to do it, the self-contained, done in one, and then you piece it all together. And we're telling one big epic.
That's great, man. Now, is that like you said, it's the DC Earth? Yeah. So is that one of the numbered Earths of technically? This is great. It's great that you have the Psycho Pirate there from the pirate standpoint. But is he kind of aware of the alternate universes? Like
that actually is a plot point of the Psycho Pirate one, because I like the Psycho Pirate that's like, I remember, you know what I mean? I love that guy.
Did you watch the animated Crisis movies?
I got to there's 3 of them, right? I think I got to the second one. I'm not completely there yet.
I understand.
It was crazy to see them do some of these characters in animation for the first time, really.
Well, I loved their 2-dimensional choices for those 3 movies in particular, but also I appreciated the differences in the story compared to the original Crisis story, and it works. And yeah, man, I think Psycho Pirate is one of the best things about those 3 movies. I really do.
Oh yeah, he's great. We just did. We did Justice League International, so the International League of Pirates. And one of the strengths of our book is we know it. We get to do, when we get bored, so we're like, well, let's do the Justice League International. Let's do the Titans, who we call the Titaneers. And so we do the pirate redesigns of all the characters, and so we post them online usually the week of, and that gets them like some attention online. But it's like for the Justice League International, we're like, okay, well, how do you really break that team down to 5 or 6 members? And our answer was no. We're just gonna all of them. We've got Crimson Fox. We've got Zatanna. We've got Oberon. We've got we designed, Bradley and Andrew designed probably 23 characters just for the 2-part storyline.
That's so great, Josh. Honestly, I'm really glad that they're letting you play with as many toys as you want. And do you know, is there any sort of overarching attitude towards these digital books? Because there is a lot of freedom beyond the traditional Earth One depictions of these characters. And I mean, I was even thinking, reading these, it reminded me of those graphic novels of YA adaptations of Zatanna and Nightwing and things like that. That it kind of had the same vibe, but as you say too, more of a digital comic with the scrolling and things. But yeah, like, you guys can do whatever you want for the most part. Have you had any no's?
Oh, we've got complete freedom. And you know what? I know that there's a Superman with John Kent book right now out as well.
Sure.
It's one of the more popular series. And I know they because it's Superman, they have to hew a little closer to continuity in some ways.
Okay.
But we're our own universe. And also we're Aquaman. So we can do whatever we want. You know what I mean? Like as long as we don't make the Arthur fans too mad, I think we're doing good. And this book is a love letter to the classic comics as well. We have a big storyline coming up that's reintroduced Arthur into the narrative late in the game, and so we're going to see what he's up to. But just like we have so much fun with it. I've been digging into a lot of the Silver Age Aquaman stuff for inspiration, because those comics are just full of ideas, and that's something I wanted us to have to the book, is like, you never know what's going to happen next.
That's excellent, man. I've been buying a few Silver Age Aquamans with those great Nick Cardy covers. And man, yeah, that's some really great stuff. Or there was one where like Aquaman dies, and I'm sure you've seen it, where he's on the slab and he's being carried by Batman, Superman, Hawkman, and I forget who the fourth guy is, but Mera and Wonder Woman are like, Wonder Woman's consoling Mera in the background. I think it was Metamorpho, and of course, Superman doesn't need the oxygen tank, but the others have them. They have the little bubble helmets and everything. Yeah, I always loved, and also I was a big Jim Aparo, Mike Fleischer Adventure Comics 70s Aquaman reader. Did you read any of those?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, where's my literally everything from Ramona Frieden to Butch Guice to literally everything about Alex Ross. So we have the whole thing is a love letter to the Aquaman mythos. Tempest has a big role in the story. Even Tula shows up and has stuff to do. The Aquaman fans are telling me, they're like, this is the most Tula has ever had to do. And I'm like, we did right by her. That's what you want to hear, is like, this is for the real ones.
That's excellent, man. I was going to ask, what kind of connection you're having with the community and stuff. How do you communicate with them?
When we post the new designs every week, or whenever we have the new pirate designs, usually we'll get picked up by some of the Aquaman fan sites, and they've been really great about reaching out personally and just saying nice things about the book.
Great.
And I know, our book's about Jackson, but I know the art, and so it takes a little winning over for the Aquaman fans. But I think once they saw the love that we're putting into it, and how we have so much respect for the Aquaman mythos and for Arthur in particular, I think it's been great, honestly. You never know.
Would that second Aquaman ever show up? I don't even remember if he disappeared once they went back to Arthur and everything back in Jeff Johns' day. But that previous interpretation of Aquaman, I guess he was an Arthur Curry. You'll probably remember better than me.
Oh gosh, I will say I'm very much a Mark Waid, everything counts, but kind of mentality about this stuff. For our book, we don't really have time to go through that, but maybe, never say never. There's a lot of stuff I want to go to Zebel. That's my big thing. We don't have enough room.
Remind me of Zebel. What was Zebel?
It's the dimension that the Mera comes from.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah.
So we see it sometimes, but we don't see it. Given that it's such a huge part of the Aquaman mythos, we're never there. And so I'm like, why are we? You're telling me there's a whole another undersea kingdom that like we don't have we never go to. Like that's what I want to learn more about. So if we do a season 2, knock on wood, a lot of Mera stuff, a lot of Zebel stuff. I want to get into some of the Aquaman lore that hasn't been expanded on.
That sounds great. Have you had a chance to talk to Jeremy at all, Adams, who's doing the regular Aquaman book?
It's funny because I know Jeremy, and he's doing his Aquaman book, and I think he had a recent issue with pirates in it as well. And I was like, "Ooh, are we getting a little too close to each other?" But it's an Aquaman book. Of course, there's going to be sea pirates.
Yeah.
So we're our own flavor. I'm not worried about getting too close to what they're doing. But I know that there's like a lot of Aquaman stuff happening right now with DCKO, and I think they're really priming that character for a big moment.
Honestly, I read that KO issue of Aquaman facing off with Hawkman that Jeremy wrote. It was great. And again, I'm so happy. And honestly, I think a lot of these second-tier heroes, they have great stories in them. They just got to find the right creators. And, based on what I read of your run and everything you're telling me in this thing, no, again, you and Jeremy, I think, are two of the right guys to be bringing Aquaman. And man, I got to tell you, and I'm glad you're getting opportunities to at Marvel, but DC right now, I got to say, they're killing it, and a lot of beyond I'm a Earth 1 DC guy and always was. The Absolute Universe is interesting. What you're doing with DC is interesting, and I think there's a lot of cool ideas happening with the characters. They're playing with them in different ways.
Yeah, I think right now, and it always goes back and forth, right?
Sure.
But I feel like DC is coming at it with like, let's see what sticks. That's especially true of the DC Go books. You know, they brought Warlord back for the DC Go books. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, and that they're willing to take that chance, right? Because like you never know what's going to take off. And these Go books are for kind of a younger reading audience, ones who are familiar with the format from webtoons or tapas or whatever it is. And so like there's a cooking book called Taste of Justice. There's a Wonder Woman book that's more like Babysitter's Club, but it's Wonder Woman's the baby. And so there's all sorts of crazy concepts. And even in the print, you're seeing now. They've had, oh gosh, what is it? Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. That they're folding that into DCKO. Like insane things are happening right now. And like that's the fun of it is like that you never know what's going to happen next.
No, Greg Rucka used to tell me Marvel and DC, they're kind of like the tortoise and the hare. And DC's the tortoise, and all of a sudden, you know, the hare's zipping along, and all of a sudden, it's like, well, he's not behind me anymore. Wait a minute, he's ahead of me. What the hell's going on? And again, no disrespect to Marvel. I love my Marvel stuff. Again, we spent a good half hour or so talking about FF and the apes and everything. But I got to say right now, there's a lot of good invention going on at DC, and I'm glad it's clicking, and I'm glad people are having as much fun. And really, I was worried about KO. I really was. I'm like, because you might remember. They did something similar in the aughts, and maybe it was during Countdown or something. But I remember like
I do think I know what you're about. Yeah,
they were like in arenas, and it might have even been called Arena, and it was like, you know, Dark Knight Batman versus Bad Blood, you know, Vampire Batman or whatever. And it's like, and it was fun from an art standpoint, but the stories just weren't there. And like I said, man, I read Jeremy. I mean, I'm enjoying the KO books anyway, but Jeremy's Aquaman Hawkman face off. Really interesting. Really. And again,
perfect characters for him. I think those are two great characters for him to write. And so, those are great. And also, like, I don't know if you watch a lot of anime, but obviously, like, fighting tournaments is such a trope of the genre. Yeah. And I think it's interesting to put that kind of trope against the DC heroes. And it's like, it just goes back to Constance of Champions, right? Like,
yes,
we've been doing this forever. It's just interesting that we get to see what this generation looks like.
Well, and again, no disrespect to anime, but it just feels like there is more story beyond the fighting scenes and everything. And that's what really, I mean, God, the first two issues of DCKO, I really had to sit and like, all right, what's happening here? You know, I'm like, I really need to pay attention. What the hell's happening here? It isn't just, okay, here we go. And I'm intrigued by this whole idea of building a champion to face Darkseid and everything. I think that's
and no one tells me anything, but I feel like this is the jumping off point for something even bigger. I don't know what that is, but I'll be reading it for sure.
No, it's very, and again, no disrespect to Marvel. I like One World Under Doom. I like a lot of the Marvel books right now, but I got to say that they're beyond. I mean, hey, I'm a meat and potatoes comic book guy, but when something off the wall or from left of center suddenly comes out, it's like, oh, that's interesting. All right, and again, I think you're right. The Go books represent that as well, so that's neat. Let's talk Blue Beetle before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So that was the last time you and I talked. We talked about your run on Jaime and everything, and I was very pleased that you were bringing back Dan Garrett and everybody else that you put in the book and everything. So looking back, how was the experience?
Oh, it was a dream come true. I will say you never think you're going to fall in love again. But after Blue Beetle, I was like, I think I'm spent. But now I got Aquaman here, and I've got Dr. Zayas on the other hand, and I'm doing just fine. But I loved writing Jaime. I'm begging them for the opportunity to get back to the character. But these things come and go. But I loved the original everything from Blue. I love the Dan Garrett stuff. I love the Steve Ditko stuff. I love the 80s, the Len Wein stuff. Sure. I mean, I love all of it. And so, like, to be able to get a little bit of space to like smush it together and show what my corner of the Blue Beetle universe looks like was so cool. And we're lucky that the movie came out around the time that I was doing it, so we got that boost of interest and attention that maybe not an A-list character wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Wasn't and I'm sorry, man, I apologize.
Sure.
A million comics and a couple movies since, But wasn't your antagonist the same character as in the movie?
Yeah, we folded in Ted Kord's evil sister Victoria into the series.
That's right.
I have the only piece of Victoria Kord merchandise
Hold
made
on,
for
I'm
the
zooming
movie.
in.
Oh yeah, so it's this little thing. So here's my theory. So in the movie, so it's just a little, I don't know what you put, you tie it
It
to
looks
your
like a
badge or
Funko.
something.
Is it not a Funko?
It's not a Funko. It's something like a Funko, whatever that is. But she has blonde hair, and in the movie, Susan Sarandon has red hair. So
Sure.
I think that my theory is this toy was for when Sharon Stone was cast in the role, because these toys have to be made so far in advance.
Sure, maybe.
But anyway,
Interesting.
I've been looking around. This is the only Victoria Kord toy that came out around the movie, so I had to buy it on eBay. I spend more money. I spend more money from my comics on toys, on original art from issues I worked on. It's just
that's
the cave.
That's great, man. What's your favorite? Do you have a vintage toy that you absolutely love, or even one? Not only from your own childhood, but
I was going to buy some Planet of the Apes Mego figures. Actually, I think when I wrap up the series, because I like to have a little thing here and there. Something I just got. It's more recent. It's from McFarlane. It's a Quisp statue of that fifth dimensional If we were talking about.
Yes.
And so that came with one of the Aquaman figures that they just did. And so I just bought. I don't have a lot of room for statues right now, but I was like, I need the Quisp, so I had to buy him separately on a disreputable website.
Oh my! Art Baltazar makes custom Migos, so he is totally in with the entire Migo community. He doesn't have a 3D printer, but he knows guys that do. And I don't know how deep you get into the hobby. Ibrahim Mustafa also makes custom action figures. They're bigger than Migos, but I am really fascinated by the whole Migo culture and the old stuff. But yeah, I've got, like, Artie pointed me to some of those websites, and you can buy bodies and things, and also private collectors will 3D print and sculpt heads. Like I saw like a Buster Crab Flash Gordon head, that kind of thing, and and literally, like, Artie has Christopher Reeve Superman heads and stuff, and they look like
the thing I really want from Apes is, I don't think they ever made it, but I want a lawgiver statue that's for my desk. I want, like, it could be, I wanted to have like the bloody eyes from Beneath, or like the single tear or whatever. I want something really stupid. But
well, that's Caesar. Caesar's the crying statue.
Oh, you're right, Caesar. Yeah, you're right. I got it. Yeah, you're right.
What I love also about Battle, I'm an old movie freak, and John Huston, the great director, is the lawgiver that tells the prophecy, or the scrolls of Caesar's advent. And so it was foretold that Caesar would lead his people, and it's just got that wonderful voice that John Huston always had. And the man is just in the orangutan makeup and stuff. Him and Lou Ayres was the guy in charge of all the weapons, and he's an old character actor. He was Dr. Kildare back in the 40s.
Oh, yeah, that's so funny. Was that calling Kildare? Was that the catchphrase?
Yes, calling Dr. Kildare. And of course, Richard Chamberlain played him in the early '60s in a great TV show.
Oh, these are great characters. I think Zaius in particular, he's the one that really, I think Zaius is one of the most complex and interesting villains in sci-fi.
Well, and that's the opportunity I think you have with this story, because he knows the secrets of the Forbidden Zone, and he knows the history of man, but it is his job to maintain the order, which is keeping the knowledge from his people.
Yeah, and
that's fascinating.
He's such a fanatic about it too. You know what I mean? Like, he's very smart. He's incredibly intelligent, very reasonable, but he's willing to do the dark things in order to maintain the illusion of ape society, the order.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Maurice Evans, my God, what a performance in the two movies. I mean, really. And we really, us ape fans, we're very fortunate to get these great actors of that caliber alongside all the young people and the newbies and I'll be honest, man, I love John Chambers' makeup, the original makeup. I mean, that was the thing. Like, Burton was really like, our makeup's more superior, and it's like, Yeah, maybe, but your story isn't. Yeah, at least
Yeah,
my opinion.
when they do the full makeup in the classic movies, it looks great. But when they do the rubber ape mask in the background, you're like, this movie doesn't need to be remastered, maybe, because you can see the clothes tags.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Absolutely, that's so funny. For Halloween, Gabe Hartman and I and company, we do a movie podcast, and we did this early '70s monster movie, Gargoyles, that was a TV movie. And one of the younger co-hosts is like, well, you can see the zipper on the back. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to understand, this was made when, I had one of those terrible Panasonic 1970s televisions that didn't have HD
no way
resolution.
You'd ever be able to see that.
No, absolutely not, man. And I think that's why some of these things and the special effects of the 70s and 80s, even the 90s, they're kind of afraid of putting them on HD because, you're going to see every flaw that you could trick away with a less resolute TV. So
they did this with the Star Trek Next Generation. There was a problem with some of those remasters because you could see the painter's tape and things that they were doing to keep down the. And it's like, oh, they did it with Mad Men. Did you see that about the Mad Men getting upscaled? So they remaster it. It's a similar problem. They just pulled from the original masters. However, some of these shots they paint out elements that would be that wouldn't belong in that era of the 60s, right? And so they paint it out, but when they pull from the masters, the special effects shots aren't included. And so you'll see like a car that's like, oh, that car should not be there. Like it immediately catches your eye. So they say they're fixing it. It just came out last week. It's on streaming. So
interesting.
Maybe hold tight or buy the DVDs or something.
Is it on AMC Plus? Where's it streaming?
It's on. It just got on HBO Max, I think, is what.
Oh, it's on Max. Great.
Yeah, I love that show. I think that's probably the best show of the past 10, 20 years.
No, I completely agree. It's certainly one of them. And what a cast, absolutely. And when great performances, great writing.
And there's a great moment in Mad Men where Don's having a bad day and he takes his kid to watch Planet of the Apes.
Yes, he does. Well, if we're modern day, he would go buy a copy of Planet of the Apes.
Absolutely. He'd be having a mental breakdown and reading Planet of the Apes versus Fantastic Four.
So again, final cutoff, everybody, January 5th. And in the meantime, too, catch up on Aquaman Yo Ho Ho.
Hold on to your hook. Hold on to your hook.
Yes, Yo Ho, hold on to your hook. Absolutely. Very
I
cool.
can't take credit for that title. I will say that the pun masters at DC, they always one up themselves.
All those anthology books for Valentine's Day or summer. Again, I really, they're fun. They're inventive. So hats off. Well done. And way to go, dude. I'm really glad that the run continues. Again, I enjoyed your Blue Beetle run. And these are two great stories. Here, let's see a final comment. Don Lenza, ladies and gentlemen. Josh seems as big a fan as he is a top flight addition to Fantastic Four, Planet, and Aquaman history.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate that. I live in the long boxes too, so I love this classic stuff.
It shows, Josh, and you're doing a hell of a job. Keep up the great work. Continue success. Come back when you have something new, and
absolutely.
We'll further the conversation. But yeah, thanks a lot for playing tonight, man.
Oh, of course, anytime.
Everybody, thanks for watching and listening. Thursday's going to be very busy. I'm doing a double feature. Art and Franco and I will do our Oh Yeah holiday special. We'll be talking about some of our favorite Christmas memories and various things. And then later, a Scene Missing episode with Gabe Hardman. We're going to be exploring the film and television work of Burl Ives. Yes, the snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but Academy Award winner for a fantastic Western that you can watch on Tubi called The Big Country with Gregory Peck, among others. Charlton Heston also in that movie, and a young Chuck Connors. Great movie, great Western. And a few other things, including his television show, The Bold Ones, where it was one of those NBC wheels like the mystery movie with Columbo and McMillan and wife and McLeod. And in this one, it was part of a lawyer show, and he was the senior lawyer, Burl Ives. So it's going to be really fun talking about Burl Ives' career on Scene Missing tomorrow. So 2 shows tomorrow night here on Word Balloon Live. Join us then. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.